Like and subscribe right now, or this will be in your bed tonight.
Hello and welcome back to ProRevenge. Before we start, please like and subscribe for more videos. Please like and subscribe, and it will really help me out. Thanks. Steal my design and get all the credits. Enjoy getting kicked off. So my friend over in Korea studies fashion design. She sometimes sends me over the sketches of the designs, and they all look amazing. Then again, I'm not into fashion. She is particularly interested in designing handbags and purses. She told me a story about how she shut down one of the most entitled, self-centered lazy students on campus. Cast: Grace, our main character girl. Jane, the evil one. Professor, the instructor of the course. Story: at first, Grace and Jane got along just fine. They were both interested in similar stuff and quickly became BFFs. Grace decided to show Jane her sketches and designs for handbags and purses, and Jane was so impressed by it. Because the sketches were in incredible detail, including all the patterns and sew lines, coupled with figurative measurements. Even Professor was impressed by it, and it was no surprise that Grace got a high mark on their first major exam. Jane didn't do so well, and practically followed Grace everywhere to get pointers on how to do better. So Grace decided to help her out. Unfortunately, Jane turned out to be one of the most entitled, lazy, and selfish people that Grace has ever met. Things that Jane did to piss Grace off included, but not limited to, not paying attention, being late on their study session, never showed appreciation, didn't pay for coffee or snack, complaining annoyingly about how hard it was to draw something. Grace pretty much gave up on her after a week, refusing to meet Jane outside of her class. Time went by, and for their midterm, everyone in the class had to do a presentation on the stuff they had designed. When it was Jane's turn, Grace was shocked to see Jane had stolen one of her designs. Thankfully, Grace had multiple designs going on, so there were no conflicts when it was her turn to present, but she was seething with rage. Grace had a meeting with the professor afterwards, and the professor knew what was going on, but couldn't really do anything with Jane, because it turns out she was the daughter of the chairman, or one of the major investors. Grace said she can't recall. The chairman apparently blackmailed the professor into giving Jane the best grades. The revenge professor did, however, help Grace devise a plan to humiliate and expose Jane. For the finals, the professor announced to the class they would do another presentation, but it would be 3 designs, and advised they had to bring their A games, because professionals from industries would be grading their work, and the head of the department and the chairman would be there as well. So you know how Grace had a bunch of sketches for the class? Well, Grace also had a separate sketchbook that had designs from major brands. MK, Coach, you name it. She never used these directly for class assignments, but rather as inspirations for her designs. Grace pretended to be all friendly with Jane again, and brought the other sketchbook on their meetings, still putting up with all the problems mentioned above. Grace secretly worked tirelessly on her new design, and did her best to keep it a secret from Jane. So the day of the final presentation arrives, and Grace and Professor are grinning, because they know what is about to happen. Grace went first, and she got a lot of praise from the judges. After a few more presentations, the last one to go was Jane. Jane's presentation turned out to be another copycat, copying designs of not 1, not 2, but 3 different companies. After the presentation, this was how it went all down, at least according to Grace. Judge 1: so you are saying you designed all these by yourself, right? Jane: that's right. Judge 1: and you swear that it really was your design and didn't copy off from anything else, right? Jane: I swear. Judge 1: you are aware your designs are from 3 brands. Jane: huh. Judge 1: are you aware that these are on market right now and some of the most popular designs? Jane: wait, hold on. Judge 2: yeah, I was going to bring this up. If you had worked for any brands, you would have probably been fired or worse case, sued. Jane: but. Judge 2: please, I'm not done yet. Did you honestly think this would work? We, the judges, have been in the industry for over 10 years. We know a copycat when we see it. Jane: but these aren't even my designs. They are from Grace. Judge 3: to Grace: is this true? Grace, yes, but I'd never use them for major projects, nor call them my work. I just use sketches of them as inspirations for my own designs. Judge 3, well, that was clear from your presentation. Turning back to Jane. Now, Ms. Jane, this is a clear case of plagiarism, and I do hope your school is merciful on this matter. After the presentation was over, the chairman screamed at the professor in front of everyone, not realizing he just revealed all the blackmailing and the secret grade deal. Jane tried to call out Grace on how you screwed me over, but it really didn't matter. No one listened to Jane's attempt and slander, and was kicked out of the school. Chairman pretty much lost all support, and had to resign, and was replaced by far more honorable and competent one. Edit. It's only been 3 hours and I already got a silver. Thanks guys. For everyone that's saying this sounds like fake /webtoon /drama plot, let me tell you that shit like this happens all the time in Korea. But most of the times, victims tend to just swallow the losses and try not to make a big deal out of it because they don't want the infamy of all drama that it will release. If you think gossiping and fake rumors were bad in US colleges, wait until you see what happens in Korean colleges. Besides, the plots of webtoon and dramas are often based on or inspired by real life events. I also forgot to add that Grace passed with flying colors and was recommended for an apprenticeship/internship over at Paris, but due to COVID-19 it was cancelled. Pathological a-hole gets what's coming for him. This happened few years ago, so I feel I'm ready to share it with you guys. Backstory. I was starting my career in security business and had little experience of the field work itself. In my country, private security is highly regulated, important later, and licenses are needed almost every step of the way. I was studying in local security school from where I would eventually graduate as security supervisor. While studying I decided to apply for a job in small private security company to get some extra cash. The company mainly handled sport events and concerts. I was one of the almost 100 people working and soon learned that connections you make in job are most important. Work was good and I had awesome team where we handled security checks and also traffic near the event locations. As I was lacking funds to get pro equipment I was forced to get used material, workwear, vests, second grade pepper spray etc. Here is when our scamming pathological liar comes in. Let's call him Sammy. Sam was a bit weird, but social character and was, at the time, deemed nice by many in our company. I had made some friends with similar situation in our company and Sammy soon came to us, promising that he could sell us new sets of vests and equipment with reasonable price. We were stupid to believe him, but we made the dealer's circles in security business were small and bad word spread fast, so we thought that there is no risk. He got the money up front and promised delivery on day X. Few weeks from that, soon he called me and asked that was I interested being a bouncer for a few times and next week I said sure as I needed the money. He promised that he would pay me in cash later that month. He also asked that was I interested in working as security in county fair. I said sure, as they are the easiest money there is. I did the bouncer gigs as agreed and later went to county fair. There was other people from our company as well. Sammy was head of security. There I asked about the equipment me and my friends paid for. He said they would arrive next week. Weeks passed. No money from fair and no equipment. He transferred me money from the bouncer gigs, but only half what was promised. When I asked about it, he said there was fears he was the middleman. He also claimed that county fair had financial issues, so he couldn't pay. Next week he had another explanation. In normal work in sports events, colleagues who had worked with me in the fair had not been paid either, and they were suspecting that something was wrong. I was getting worried, so I called to county fair organizers directly, which Sammy had specifically told me not to do as he was taking care of the situation, to ask them what is going on. They were baffled. They told me that responsibility of the county fair security was given to voluntary organization of old and retired security officers who worked for community free of charge. It was voluntary, non-paid gig. Sammy was volunteering for that organization. He had been given a job to get volunteers to work for the fair, and he had thought that I was easier to get them if he promised them pay. I had lost more than $350 in his shenanigans in a week and I needed that money. I called to organization about the situation and they fired Sammy on the spot from his responsibilities, and he was banned from all events they were working on. The security company I worked also had small carrier/hauling business on the side. I applied for that as I had license to drive truck and the boss was understanding that I really needed the job. I hadn't seen Sammy anywhere as he was on leave from security gigs and nobody knew where he was. Also, people were pretty pissed at him after they heard from me what he had done. After 2 weeks at the truck job, I was asked to come to the office. It turned out that day, before I had done my route completely wrong and deliveries had been late too, I was fired at the spot. Leaving the office, Sammy comes from nowhere at the hallway. He stares at me and smiles like the devil himself and says, "Oh, you lost your job. Well, that happens when you F with the wrong people." I was stunned and didn't know what was happening. Sammy walked to office behind me and closed the door. Later that day I learned that he was responsible for the routes and delivery markings and times. He had been hired just few weeks before me for that job. He got me fired. I quit my job at security company as the boss sided with Sammy. Even he admitted that Sammy was probably guilty of making me fail at the job. I couldn't go to the police as there was literally his word against mine. I was beyond angry and made a silent and holy promise that I would ruin Sammy's life, no matter what it takes. Soon I applied for a job in another, bigger security company which handled supermarkets, malls etc. and got the job. Few years passed, and I had proven to be trustworthy and hard-working security officer, so usually when there was someone new in the job, they were handed to me for training/job introduction. Meet Jay. He came to learn the basics, and while I was teaching him, I also asked about his life and everything as we would be working closely together. Jay told me everything about his life and mentioned that he was working on site also in security company named X, and the X was very close name to local well-known security company 20th. I thought that he had mispronounced the company name as he was from the countryside and his dialect was different than mine. But he insisted that he worked in company X. I asked who his boss was, and it was Sammy. I realized that years of waiting had paid off as I knew what Sammy had done. And now for the revenge. I told Jay everything that had happened between me and Sammy. Jay was shocked but agreed that he had also been suspecting something was bit off with Sammy. As everything was bureaucratic in my country, there was public record of all security companies. Sammy's company was not registered company, which is a felony as he doesn't have a license. Jay told me that Sammy had about 15 people working for him and they had private Facebook site where he was acting as a job agent and handled the workers' salaries. I knew exactly what he was doing. He was fooling them all that he takes care of their taxes and pension contributions as they are employer's duty, but in reality he just took the money for himself and falsified the payslips. I asked Jay to collect all the evidence he can of Sammy. Jay took pictures, screenshots and collected statements from his colleagues. Soon Sammy heard about this and fired Jay from his fake company and started to threaten him with lawsuits and that Jay can't ever get a job without Sammy's approval anywhere, which was utter BS. Jay had already got a job in the company I was working in after I gave a good word and vouched for him. I started to piece together the puzzle of Sammy's wrongdoings for my revenge. First I called to his clients and business associates and presented them with hard rock evidence. One by one, he lost his customers. Then I contacted the police about his tax evasion and false security company. At this point Local Eyes was more than interested about Sammy's business. Soon I heard that he had vanished completely from public. Not much later I learned that he was convicted on numerous charges and had to pay thousands in legal fees and fines and received probation of about a year. He had to hide from public as he had also lied his education and had scammed numerous people. I started to receive messages in Facebook that his story was spreading like a wildfire. I heard that he can't get work from anywhere as his story was shared in my country's biggest private security oriented page in Facebook with more than 80% of all active security officers and bouncers belonging to that group page. I was more than happy, but somehow felt that Sammy still had something else coming for him. Last year I heard that he was running an ATV/quad bike organization and was again collecting fees from those who wanted to be part of ATV safaris etc, even he was notoriously bad driver. Something told me not to do anything. And would you believe it, one day Sammy was leading his ATV safari and crashed his ATV and broke his spine. I didn't feel sorry for him at all as I know what kind of scum he really is. I saw him few months after he had walking stick and was limping badly. Now my revenge was complete with little aid by our fair friend Karma. Thank you all for watching to the end of the video. But before you go, please like and subscribe for more. Not many of you at all that watch are subscribed or like the video, and this makes me unsure if I should continue to make more content or not. So if you want more content, please like and subscribe. If you don't want to miss out on any future videos, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button. Also please give me some feedback in the comment section about what I can do better, because not many people comment on my videos, so I have no idea of people's opinions of thoughts about this YouTube channel. So yeah, that's all from me. If you have subscribed and liked the video, please consider sharing the video with your friends. Thanks and bye. I'm still doing daily uploads, so hope to see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.